Hey, what's going down, man? It's your boy Trix, a.k.a. the Human Jump Off, man. You locked into iLive Radio. They changed the way I listen to radio, man.
Well, y'all listen to iLive Radio. My name is Steve Boyd, the Parliament Funkadelic, and we want to thank iLive Radio for keeping the funk alive all over the world, worldwide.
Join me, Uncle Funky, at noon Eastern Standard Time every Saturday for our music show, Give Me the Night, here on iLive Radio, and enjoy a nooner like no.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation. Genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. Collective Music Nation. One voice. Strength in unity.
Canadian Black Entertainment's mission is to create, celebrate, and promote Black artistry. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Instagram for our IG Live with CBE, where we interview artists. Follow us on IG and spread the word. We are here for our artists and are creating a space for them to get the recognition they so deserve. Canadian Black Entertainment, IG Live with CBE, every Wednesday beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you on the gram.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the into radio. iLive Radio.
The number one hit music station.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me this Sunday afternoon, Patrick O'More Show. Today we've got a couple guests. We're going to be starting off with Yannick Williams, and then at around 2:30 we're going to be bringing in local artists out of Mississauga fame. And so we're going to start off. Yannick, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, Patrick. How are you?
I'm doing really good, really, really good. Thanks for hanging out with me. And so you started your first company when you were 22, and then you've trained and hired and developed and managed sales teams. Like you've done a whole lot of development when it comes to managing business. But you went to university for music?
Yes. See, there's something when you study classical musician or music, you have to be a little bit crazy, but two, it prepares you a lot to have a lot of discipline and to be able to take harsh criticism. Okay. So I feel like once you study classical music, you can do anything because you're not soft and you're disciplined. Okay,
so you got to be able to take that tough feedback.
You have to be able to take tough feedback, and you have to always know that no matter how great you've gotten, you've never arrived. You've never just arrived. It's always the next step, the next level. You're always pushing for perfection, although it's not ever there, but you're always pushing for it.
So how did the transition happen for you from the music world into business?
I didn't know, I knew what I didn't want to do, which was I didn't want to live my entire life in a practice room. As much as I love music, the reality of being a classical musician is you're spending a lot of time alone in a practice room doing the same things over and over again. Now, it's great that you're able to hone your craft and to perform. And, there's this magic that happens when you perform, but the majority of your existence is not performing. It's you by yourself. And I just love people so much. I love impacting people so much. And quite frankly, I don't think I just have the attention span, to do that until I'm 80, until I die. Because that's what they do, is they do that until they die. And I just didn't have that in me. I still love to play. I still love music, but it just wasn't that career path. So I got into sales. Okay. And I remember when I got into sales, my mother said, "You finally found a place that will pay you to run your mouth." And that's what I did.
I guess mother knows best, right? So you are, I for those who know me well, there's certain words that being Jamaican and being me, I have a hard time with. So I'm going to butcher this because I can never say this word properly. So you're a strategy coach, right?
Yes, strategy coach. Yes, I help people with their business strategy, their mindset strategy, their internal strategy. Yes.
So what are some of the would you say are some of the things that you find, the common things that you find that people struggle with when they're looking at their business?
Well, everything starts from within and it goes out. Okay. Every single person listening to this, every single person that you meet was born with a gift, an intended position, and an intended purpose. And so whenever people are in their business and they're struggling, that normally means that there's something about what they're doing in their business that's misaligned with one of those three things. And so normally what I do is I meet with that person, look at their intended outcomes and figure out where the misalignment is. And normally it's something within their confidence, their vision, and their intentions. And so, but normally I start off with the vision. Most people start businesses and they know what they want to be the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make, $1 billion, $1 trillion. I want to buy my mom a house. I want to be the best that's there, right? But the vision has to have a purpose attached to it. And it's like, okay, you want to do that, but how? By doing what? How are you going to impact your community? That the vision is what attracts the right employees. Because if you don't have your vision intact, then you're attracting the wrong people to execute said vision. So it starts off there with me figuring out what is it that you really want to achieve and why.
So if somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I want to make $10 million, and that's my drive, that's my focus, is just to make this money. How do you manage that?
Well, my first question is, why do you want to make it? Because no one wakes up and just says, I want to make $10 million. Now, if they're honest with me, they're like, you know what, the type of women I like, I need to have $10 million to get it, and like, that's if they're really, really honest. Okay.
It's all about the girls.
Other
Okay.
People, the why may be just like, maybe you weren't the cool girl or guy growing up and you're trying to give it to the man and show people that you are somebody. Maybe your why is that you want to open up a philanthropy, right? But I always try to figure out the why, because until I know why, I don't know what drives you. And we got to set up systems, and we have to set up a business in a way that constantly is putting you in the position to where you're being driven by that something. And when times get hard, you're remembering why you're doing it.
So the why, I guess part of the most important piece of this is the why. Now, a lot of people could struggle with the how. How do I get this done? How do I make the next step happen? Because I would assume, you touched on this a little bit, earlier. I would assume that how they think about themselves has a huge play in how much they expand.
Exactly. And that comes down to self-image. So for instance, we're talking about, a lot of times people focus on their physical image. Like, did I do my makeup right? Did I wearing the right outfits or whatever, right? All of that makes sense. I get it as part of branding. But what it really comes down to is self-image. And a lot of people don't thrive in their businesses because their self-image has been compromised. And your self-image is what you believe about what you're capable of accomplishing. And so I found that a lot of people, their businesses struggle because their self-image isn't high enough to execute the plan with the amount of intensity, with enough daring and boldness and creativity to make that happen. But it started with their self-image.
So it's, people think, okay, I'm going to build my website, and I'm going to create my Instagram account and my TikTok account and set up my social media, and then I'm going to go viral.
Yeah, no. I mean, and if you do, God bless you.
Well,
but if you haven't done the inward work,
the
inward work, it's going to fall apart anyway.
Yeah. If I just post a whole bunch of cat videos, wouldn't that just make everybody come to me?
Well, the thing is that once you, and we see this all the time online, right? Once you have everyone there, then what?
Yeah.
And that's the part that no one thinks about. Once everyone's watching, then what? How are you going to monetize? Why should they buy with you? What are you building? For what intent? And so you can have a viral moment and still be broke. You can have viral moments. You can have the greatest Instagram online and it still may be misaligned with your values. And now you've brought your online presence and you've created a life that you never wanted to live in the first place. So now you don't have business challenges. Now you've got some spiritual challenges and emotional challenges you're going to have to deal with, because the inside of you wants to be over here, but you've created this thing just for clout that has you over there. Mm-hmm. And this is where you see, I don't know if you just saw recently in the news, I think like a singer, someone's like, I'm quitting. I don't know why it is, but I see it all the time with people everywhere else, where they're doing something that is seemingly amazing, mm-hmm. but it's tearing them up on the inside. And that's what happens when you get when your vision gets misaligned.
So that's a good thing, is how do you balance that? How do you, there's dare I say, in a situation like that, there's a big separation between your public persona for your mm-hmm. business versus you as an individual. And yeah, we see, a lot of quote unquote famous people who, commit suicide, who do a lot of odd things. And from the outside, we're looking at it like, you've got it made. You're making all this money and you're so successful. So how do you balance that?
Well, I think the first thing when it starts with, anytime you're someone who's looking for fame, you're mm-hmm. already signing up for a lot of troubles. And that's because human beings weren't built to be idolized. We're not emotionally equipped for idolization.
Okay.
So that's the beginning of the problem, is that we don't have the equipment emotionally, spiritually, to be idolized. Because to be idolized, that means you've got to be deaf, dumb, and stupid, and or God, okay? Meaning you got to be willing to be quiet, not look anything. No, I don't see that. I don't hear that. I got to be stupid. Or you literally have to be God to be idolized. So that's the first part of it, where it becomes a misalignment. But apart from that, if that's your goal, and let's say that's what you were intended to do in life, then you're going to have, the equipment possible to make that happen for you to maintain it. But again, it starts off with the vision of figuring out, what is it that I want? Because a lot of times people look at outcomes. Yeah. I want to be a famous musician. I want to do this. I want to do this. Why? You want to be famous for what? You want to be known for what? Mm-hmm. And so people will start the beginning portions of the vision and they look at the outcomes, but they don't do the work to put together all of the details in between. And the details matter. Have you ever walked into a house that had a beautiful facade and you go on the inside and like, this is all Home Depot. What in the world? Right? And that comes from, they thought about everything of what it's gonna look like when people pull up to the house, but they didn't think when you go in, like, this is a terrible floor plan. Did you just run out of cash? And it's just because the vision you didn't complete the vision. You didn't complete the work. You just had a big idea and you ran with it, which it can be fine in certain instances, but sometimes we run into problems where we're running head first in the wrong direction. Or maybe we were supposed to veer off here, but we didn't. We missed that because we didn't align that. So I think that's the first step when I'm working with anyone, is figuring out in depth, what's the vision? Like, I don't take on any one-on-one clients until I know what their vision is, because I don't want to be a part of directing you towards something you never really wanted to be in the first place.
So if somebody created this persona out there that seemed to be successful, but then they realize that it doesn't fit with really who they are, how do you pivot?
You just have to do it. It's uncomfortable, but you just have to do it. And you start off like, this is the thing. We always, no matter what you do, you always know the next step. Mm-hmm. We never question what the next step is. The next step could just be changing your phone number, right? Yeah. Like the next step could just be, hey, I'm closing down my social media accounts. Mm-hmm. The next step could just be, whatever it is in your business, right? You could just change the branding on your website. You know what I mean? You can put a new mission statement. Start telling your customers. So I think the problem that people run into is we are always trying to do things only when we know what every step is. But every single person listening to this knows what the next step is. The next step is the easy one. Mm-hmm. We just don't take it because we're like, well, what if I don't know what to do after that? Well, your environment is going to shift in a way that's going to reveal what the next step is after that. So I always tell people, you don't have to know everything, right? But my only goal is to help you get to your next feasible step.
If you're just tuning in right now on the Patrick O'More Show, my guest today is Unique Williams. She's a strategy coach for business. And so you offer courses that people can go online and register for, and that you can help them to be able to find this balance, right?
Yes. So I have a course online. It's called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. And the first few modules of the course is just really getting that person. I'm just asking a lot of questions to really get that person to figure out what it is that they want. And think about it like this, Patrick. When's the last time you've asked someone, hey, what do you want to eat for lunch? And they're like, I don't know.
They tend to know what they don't want more than what they do want.
Right. And I'm like, think about it. If you ask someone what they want to eat and they don't know, imagine they haven't even begun to really think about what they want out of life. If they can't answer what they want for lunch, you see how that's like pulling teeth? Mm-hmm. So I literally have a course that forces people to really just identify, what do you want? Because unless it's what you actually want, you'll never be satisfied.
That's a challenging thing, because the society we live in right now, most people know what they don't want. But for them to be able to and I talk to lots of people, and I find that generally speaking, people struggle. Either A, they're afraid to actually verbalize what they really want, or B, they don't really know because they've never really thought about it. Their life tends to be very reactionary, so it's reacting to what's happening that they're not happy with. So to put somebody in a situation that they have to really think about what they want and express that. So thinking about it is one thing, but then verbalizing it, there could be a lot of fear around that too.
Well, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of social pressure, because we live in a society that's so heavily marketed that we've been told what we should want for so long, mm-hmm. that we become afraid to know and to go after what we want and to even face it. Yeah. And so it's almost like you're living life, driving like you're using Waze all the time. Now, Waze will get you there, but you're going to avoid this, you're going to avoid that, you're going to avoid this, you're going to go avoid that. It may take you longer, but maybe you didn't get into heavy traffic, right? Yeah. And you didn't have to face the monster versus the app that's going to give you the straight shot. That you may have to sit some traffic or whatever, but you're not going to California by way of Connecticut. Does that make sense? And so, and we all have to just come to that point to where we're willing to make the decisions that are in alignment with who we were built to be. Like I said before, everyone was given a gift, a position, and a purpose. And you'll never be satisfied until your life reflects what those three things are. And so, and think about it. We deal with a society that deals with a lot of emotional problems. Mm-hmm. And for some people, it is very real. And well, for everyone, it's very real. But for some people, it's diagnosed like, okay, you've got some chemical imbalances, things of that nature. But for many people, it's just a wrestling with authenticity. And there are indicators that change is necessary. And so you just have to make the decision. It can be something you're afraid of, mm-hmm. but what I'm afraid of is waking up one day and realizing I'm living a life that I never wanted and never intended to have. Well, that's the worst part. When you're doing a good job at something you should have never been doing in the first place.
I think that's a majority of most people's lives, that for good or bad, I'm not, the jury's still out maybe, but I think COVID has really woken a lot of people up, and that a lot of the jobs that they were stuck in that cycle with, they begin to realize that they can't rely on that. And so now I need to do something else. I need to find my own peace. And I know here in Canada, there's a lot of people who are tapping out of the dead end, quote unquote, the dead end jobs, and are now starting their own business or trying to figure out their own path. Do you find a lot of that in your experience these days?
Oh yeah. But I tell people it's not. I see it all as a blessing. I see it as a blessing for the companies, because this is an opportunity for them to attract the type of employee, colleague, team member that is a better fit for that industry. Mm-hmm. And I also see it as an opportunity for people to get into whatever it is you want to get into. You know, that's why I say I coach entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. Every person isn't built to be an entrepreneur and to take that type of pressure, because it's lonely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can be very lonely. And everyone's not built to work inside of a company. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But I don't shame either one, because however you're built, the only goal is for you to get on whatever track is best suited for you and to find success on that track. Because I can't build this legion of amazing entrepreneurs and not give them any employees, because companies change when an amazing person comes in and transforms that company.
So if everybody's a boss, then there are no workers to do the work.
There's no real companies.
Yeah.
Everyone's just self-employed. Right? It's just a world where just everyone Ubers. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, well, who's going to ride in the Uber? Who's going to run Uber Corporation? Who's going to do this? So it's all about balance. And that's what I mean by get on a path that makes sense for you. Like, I know some amazing people that are employees in companies that have amazing CEOs and amazing people leading those companies. And I know the vice versa. And you can find satisfaction on whatever track. Just make sure that it's a track that makes sense for you. And I feel like the more people do that, the more we're going to see everyone grow.
We've got a few minutes left. So if people want to connect with you, reach out to you, how do they connect with you?
Yes, you can connect with me on Instagram at Yannick W. That's YANIKW. And if you want to connect with me more frequently, you can join my group. It's called thenewluminaries.com. Why? Because we're raising a generation of people who are going to bring more light into whatever space that they're in. And I do small group coaching on there. We do nightcaps where we recap. You know what? Today I did an amazing job. Today I kind of failed as a leader, and this is what happened. So you can join me there and get more of this. I want to, bring light into your life and help you to grow to whatever your next step is supposed to be. So you can catch me on Instagram, The New Luminaries, or you can go to my website, yannickwilliams.com.
Have you been in a situation that somebody's come to you and they're like, "This is my why. This is what my vision is," and in your head you're thinking, that's not going to work?
Usually it's not immediately. Sometimes it's after getting to know them. Mm-hmm. And the only time I feel that way is when I realize what their vision is something that was someone else's vision. Like sometimes I find that people are doing what they're, maybe what their family members did, or what, someone has what they feel they should want to do. Mm-hmm. But that's usually a process that after working with me, they come to that conclusion on their own. I'm usually not the person that has to point it out. I try not to be the person who has to point it out.
So if they're trying to live someone else's vision and not their own.
Right. Right. And the beginning portions of everything, it's a little bit of mimicry. You know what I mean? Like the greats are the people who are laying the foundation of what excellence looks like. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like you put on the white gloves, you wear the white socks, you got the loafers on and the wig. And it's like, no, you're not Michael Jackson. Okay. They're like, take the glove off, slowly take off the rhinestone glove, honey. He's already done it. There's something amazing for you to do too. You don't have to moonwalk. You got something great in you too.
So being able to help them to figure out what their greatness is.
Yeah, like you don't have to be Michael. He put the time in to do that. It is already complete. That is, he started it and he completed that vision. He doesn't need anyone else following through with it, you know? So, and people do that all the time, but that's okay. The beginning portions, like we all did the dance in front of the TV,
Mm-hmm.
but you eventually got to take the glove off and find your own costume.
What would you, real quick, what would you say are some of the habits that people who are successful in business do?
They're disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to submit to coaching or authority. So meaning they're open to someone guiding them, because as humans, we have an inability to see ourselves. Sometimes we need other people to point out what we need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, they're consistent and they're just good people. Good people attract other good people.
So being a good person, being coachable, which, that sometimes is a bit of a challenge.
That's a lot of times. Let's be honest. That's a lot of times.
I was trying to be politically correct here.
No, it's okay.
Being able to be coachable is, it is a challenge because, this is my dream. Why am I going to listen to you tell me about my dreams?
Well, a good coach isn't someone who has necessarily done your dream. The thing is about when you have good coaching, good leadership, it's about having someone that can pull the best out of you.
Mm.
And sometimes we have a hard time pulling the best out of ourselves, but that's not what coaching is about. It's about finding someone who can just help you just pull that last bit of greatness just out consistently. And we've all experienced it. Some of us kicking and screaming, but I tell people all the time, you know what, if we have to start off with you just doing it, kicking and screaming, at least you're doing it.
Can we start that off early so we can get it out of the way?
Yeah. It's like getting a dog from the shelter. You know, there's going to be a little bit of extra work in the beginning, but they're more loyal on the end.
It's definitely been a pleasure having you hanging out with us. Again, if people want to reach out to you and connect with you and, start to work on their business and have you tell them what they're doing wrong or what they're doing right.
I do tell people what they're doing right, too.
How do they reach you again?
They can reach me at Yannick W. That's YANIKW on Instagram. And you can also reach me at yannickwilliams.com.
And for the courses that you offer online, they can sign up for those at?
Yes, thenewluminaries.com. Thenewluminaries.com.
Okay, perfect. Definitely want to thank you for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. And, we've got to do this again and dig a little deeper into some more specifics. But I think this was a good start for people to kind of get an idea about what you do and the services that you offer. And, some of the basic challenges that people face when they are when they're starting off their business or even running their businesses for a while. Limit our mentality sometimes, it does limit what we do, how we manage things. And that can definitely be a bit of a challenge.
All right. Well, yes, I can't wait. So just let me know, Patrick, and I'll be back.
All right. That's great. So we're going to take a couple minutes break from commercials right now. And then when I get back, we'll be talking to Fame Holiday about his new single and what the focus of that is. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. And we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Are you looking for that feel-good music? The kind of music that makes you want to share with your friends? Then you've been looking for iLive Radio, your #1 source for music lovers worldwide, playing a variety of hits from soul, reggae, gospel, jazz, hip-hop, funk, and everything in between. Download the iLive Radio app now and listen to us when you're on the go. Available on iTunes and the Google Play Store. You can also listen live on TuneIn and Alexa. iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. The Collective Music Nation, One voice, strength in unity.
Canadian Black Entertainment's mission is to create, celebrate, and promote Black artistry. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Instagram for our IG Live with CBE, where we interview artists. Follow us on IG and spread the word. We are here for our artists and are creating a space for them to get the recognition they so deserve. Canadian Black Entertainment, IG Live with CBE, every Wednesday beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you on the gram.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
Hello and welcome to the promo for Always Digging. My name is Jeff Skull, aka DJ Scully Funk. Every Sunday afternoon, my partner Gary, aka DJ Gaza Taylor, and I choose a theme and play our favorite songs that fit that theme. Tune in right here every Sunday from noon to 2 on iLive Radio.
Hey, peace and blessings. This is Lucia D inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. for Honey Drop here on iLive Radio. Journey with me each week as I spin the latest international sounds in new soul, R&B, hip-hop, and a little taste of everything in between. Every show features independent producers from across the globe in the beats beneath, and the 10 sweetest vibes of the week smooth out the night in the 10 Drop. Honey Drop, each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time here on iLive Radio, serving up audible treats like honey, always with a heavy beat drop.
You're listening to iLive Radio, www.iliveradio.com.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. And on the line right now, I've got Fame Holiday. Brother, you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for coming in, sitting in, and hanging out. And you've got your new single that you just dropped. It's called "What a Year," and maybe you could tell me a little bit about that, because the song talks a little bit about depression, feeling alone. Why was this a topic that you wanted to go into? Everything's opening up. People are starting to feel good. Why was this something that you wanted to, put out there?
Yeah, for me, the record is called "What a Year" because, last year in particular was a very big year for me musically. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of great accomplishments. My music was doing really well. It's got played on the radio. I've done award shows. Like, a lot of great things are happening. But on the back end and more personal, I was dealing with a lot of grief. I unfortunately, both of my grandparents passed away last year. I lost one of my friends to a drug overdose. And, my little niece passed away due to a situation we still don't really understand and the doctors don't really have answers to. Wow. So it was very tough for me to deal with while trying to, be positive and be appreciative for all the great things that are happening, but also, dealing with all this grief that I've never experienced before. So I held a lot of things inside where, if you listen to the record, it's like, asking me if I'm okay. No, you don't know what I go through. You only see the glory, but no, you don't know my story. And where that comes from is like, I'll see people all the time, like, you're doing so well. Like, how's everything? Everything's good. And I think it's normal for everyone as people. We always like, we tell people, yeah, we're good. Like, everything's fine. I'm doing blessed. It's just kind of like in our nature. We don't really like to be so vulnerable and open, especially to people we don't know. Mm-hmm. But when it came to the music, music is an outlet for me to vent and really be open about my emotions and not be worried about any judgment or anything like that. So when I was writing, it was coming more from a place of finally having a space where I felt comfortable to open up about, what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's a lot. I know that my condolences to you and your family, and the last couple of years has definitely been some challenges for many of us in so many different ways. It's
absolutely.
It's like you can't even really describe the challenges that so many people have faced, and with all the things that you just talked about that happened to you, like, how did you keep your sanity? How did you not lose your mind? Because some people that come out, there are a lot of people who are coming out the other end of this not well at all. How do you hold that down?
I definitely feel like, you know, everything I was experiencing music-wise that like were good. Like, you know, I did one of my first festivals last year. Like I was very busy and my mind was focused on like work. But it's not work that like it feels like a job. It's something I'm passionate about. So I feel like all that excitement and all the great things that were happening were kind of almost burying like my real true inner feelings at that moment. Like it wasn't where I can't feel nothing, but it was to a point where it was like almost like a band-aid, you know what I mean? It kind of covers it for that moment. But yeah, and one thing I'm learning about grief as well is like, you know, there's different phases in grief. And the beginning phase is almost like you don't believe that it actually happened. You know, when someone passes away, it's like you're in this moment where it's like, nah, like I don't feel anything. I don't believe what's going on. Like it doesn't feel real to me. It's like a dream. And it took a lot of time and months for me to really face that reality. Like, you know, these people are gone, and obviously I know they're still up there watching over me, and then they're in a better place, but they're not here, and I'll never be able to see them again in person, right? So it took a lot to finally like sit with those thoughts and accept it for what it is, and you know, try to move forward.
In our society today, you know, there's this concept that, you know, you're a man, suck it up, you know, you be strong, you're tough. Like us being able to take that time out to say, you know what, I need a mental break right now. I need to focus on myself. I need to heal a little bit. I need to go through the grieving process. I need to, you know, focus on me for a second. Sometimes it's hard to do that, one, because society's kind of like, just, you know, be a man, suck it up. On the other side, you're like I'm hurting. Like a race thing,
but especially within the Black community, like mental health is something that we don't talk about at all. That's something that I've never even heard the word like mental health in my household. So just trying to like change that narrative and for the next generation and even for people my age, like going through it now, like we got to have these conversations. It's important. And yeah, it's be tough, you know, go to church, pray to God, but you can't hold everything inside. It's okay to express yourself. It's actually important, you know, make you feel a lot better. So I just want to spark those type of conversations and educate the youth, you know?
How important was music as an outlet for you?
Very important, because I was more of a quiet kid. You know, I didn't really like to talk to people about my feelings. So music was like an outlet for me to express myself and get my thoughts out, you know, feel comfortable. And when I started to put out music and it was connecting with people and people were like, yo, you know, certain records you put out that really helped me get through these situations. I was like, man, like this is like a superpower. You know, I feel like I have a purpose. I feel important to, like I'm meant to do this. You know what I mean? And it's been history ever since.
You're being able to connect with people or have people connect with your music and seeing how that, you know, I have talked to some people where they're like, you know what, somebody came up to me and told me that song I did, you know, stopped them from committing suicide because it really hit me. You know, when you have that conversation with your fans and they tell you what the music that you've put out means to them, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel amazing, man. Like I said, it makes me feel like I have a purpose and like I found my path. I know my journey and I'm doing the right thing. You know, if I can give anything back into the world, like this is what I'm here to do, you know?
Now, we're gonna listen to that track. I'm gonna see if my DJ friend here has got it queued up. I think we do, but we're gonna take a listen to What a Year. And we good, Jay? All right.
No, I am not okay. I'm just trying to get through the day. Look up to the sky and it's gray. When is it gonna get better? Where am my heart on my sweater? These women stay breaking my heart, living dead. Yeah, lying, tell me you ain't loyal. Girl, I thought you really loved me. Using me for all my money. Ain't it funny? Don't want your love no more. I've been busy on the road, baby, I'm not yours. I do what I can, but I'm not an angel. I can't stay in one spot, gotta leave the ghetto. Girl, you did me dirty, now my money all up. I cannot show you love, I cannot show you love. Came through swerving, gone off all these perkies, hurting. Never done these drugs, but I'm broken. I don't even know what's my purpose. Came through swerving, off on these perkies, hurting. Never done these drugs, but I'm broken. I don't even know what's my purpose.
I'm going. I have so much work to do.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a song of your latest song that you just dropped. What a year. Now, right? So many. You're a fairly young guy right now.
Yeah.
25. 25. A lot of people they're thinking right now. They're at 25. They're thinking, I want to party. I want to make the bangingest beat out there, and get my money and get in the club and pop some bottles and sparklers and all this sort of thing. So I understand what you went through, but how do you balance what your emotion, your feeling that you want to convey to your audience, and when you look around and you see other guys your age who they're focused, they're not even thinking about the things that you're thinking about on the level that you're thinking about it. But for them, it's about the party lifestyle. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you're saying, how do I separate myself apart from that? Or
how do you balance that? Being young and you want to be free and things are opening up and I want to party, but then you're like, what? I got this message. I got to get out there, and people need to hear this, and they're not going to be jumping up and down in the club because it's not a banger in that regards. But for you, sure. It's like, I need to walk this balance where I got to be true to myself, my art, the message I want to get out there because people are feeling this.
Absolutely.
You understand what I mean? There's a balance in there that you got to carry, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely would credit myself on being a versatile artist. I am very consistent with music too. So I'm promoting What a Year right now, which is the new single, more catered towards mental health, but I'm already gearing up, for next month to drop some new music that is more, for the club and more fun, that's more up-tempo and that will tap into a different audience. But I feel like, being able to speak to different audiences is important, and not every record is for everybody, but it's for somebody. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there is a huge importance, especially within our community, to talk about these type of topics, to talk about our mental health, to talk about going to counseling, or to, which is something that within our community is super lacking, right?
especially from an artist standpoint, there's not many artists, taking time to talk about these things. It's actually, you hear more about artists, doing drugs and kind of promoting that kind of stuff. And I get it, that's their lifestyle, but what about the people who don't drink or smoke, or they're not into that kind of stuff? And they're, that's like myself, I'm just trying to, speak from a different standpoint. You can go that way, but you can go this way too, and you'll be all right. You might actually be better off this way. You know what I mean? So
what is your, where do you find your moral compass to keep you on the path that you want to be on? Is it your family, your friends, your team? How do you keep on your moral path?
Yeah. I always tell people, one thing that keeps me so hungry and motivated is my humble beginnings. I've been through a lot. My mom raised me as a single mother. She had me at 16 years old. So I've seen a lot of things that maybe as a kid I shouldn't have seen, but I've also seen a very strong woman, start from nothing and create something. And I kind of feel like within my family whole personally, there's not many people who, have their own businesses or own an actual house. A lot of people are renting, and there's no judgment to that. But I feel like I'm the only person who is really going hard to follow their dreams. And I have an opportunity here to not only provide for my family, but also break this family curse of let's talk about ownership. Let's try to work on that. Let me create opportunities for other family members who maybe feel like, I have kids now, and I have this family I got to deal with. I don't have time to focus on my goals. If I can create a second chance for them, that would be amazing, and because I know they all have dreams, and I know they have different things that they want to accomplish, but they just feel like they don't have enough time, and it's just not realistic to them. But me, I'm all about manifestation, you know. So I just feel like I have a chance to create something bigger for my family, and I want to, you know, be a household name and create a legacy.
Do you remember the first time you performed in front of people?
The first time, yeah, I was probably 14 and just going into high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was really cool. Of course I was nervous, you know, I was sweating bricks. I don't know if I could do this. My heart's racing, but as soon as I got out there and just hearing the audience, seeing the lights and the support, I was like, man, I want to do this forever. This is like one of the best feelings ever. And, you know, it's great to make music, but I love connecting with the people, especially on the stage. Like, that's like my home, you know what I mean?
So that transfer of energy.
Yes.
I love that. What would you tell yourself if you could talk to that 14-year-old guy just before he got on that stage?
What would I tell myself?
Yeah.
You have a very bright future. Don't be nervous. People are ready to hear what you have to offer, and it's going to be all right. Just keep pushing.
When you decided that this is, you know, the path that you wanted to go,
yeah,
you know, was everybody like, yeah, you know, this, you should do it. This is, you know, in your corner, rah, 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 or was there any, you know, challenges along the way? Was your mom like, nah, man, you need to go and become a lawyer or a doctor or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah. My mom was actually very, very supportive. You know, my great grandmother, you know, who passed away last year, unfortunately, she was one of my biggest supporters as well. You know, she's always, you know, because at the end of the day, music is a positive outlet. You know, it's better than being on the corner or selling drugs or, you know, being caught up with the wrong people. Music is a positive thing, you know. So I think everyone was really just encouraging me to go that way, especially because of my surroundings and the people I was around and that I grew up with. Like, you know, kind of just, it was allowing me to be the opposite of a product of my environment, if that makes sense. You know, it kept me out of a lot of trouble. And I could even say that now, like, you know, music has really definitely 1,000% kept me out of a lot of trouble. And it's not because I was a bad kid or anything. It was literally just because of my surroundings and who I was surrounded by. You know, it's inevitable. If you don't have something you're focused on and you're hanging around with certain people, you're just going to get caught up in the wrong things. And music always separated me from that. So I'm grateful for music to be in my life, for sure.
When you think of the legacy that you're creating through your art, you know, 100 years from now, if somebody was to find something of yours, what would you want them to be able to think about, you know, what you're putting out there?
You know, first of all, I want the music to be timeless. So like stuff that could still be played 100, 200, 500 years from now, you know, something that will always be remembered, you know, same like how we play the classics, the Michael Jacksons, you know, people from back in the day, like we remember those records and it's like they just came out today, like, you know, it's fresh. So definitely on that standpoint, and also just like, you know, how I gave back to not only the city, the country, and in other places in the world. You know, I want to create other opportunities and inspire other people to be entrepreneurs and follow their true passion, you know, because I see too many people, you know, working these jobs and, you know, I would say just trying to survive life. And there's too much of surviving than there is living. And I just want to change that a little bit more because you only live once, you only got one shot at it. And we need to focus more on just trying to enjoy it more than we're like, I just need to survive. You know what I mean?
So do you rep Toronto or Mississauga?
A lot of people ask me this. I'm very, you know, I'm a Mississauga boy. I feel like there's not enough people really that come from here that represent it. I feel like a lot of artists that I know personally, they stray and they're like, oh, I'm from Toronto. It's like, no, you're from Mississauga, but that's okay. I'll be the one who wants to rep it. Like, that's all good. But yeah, I actually had a big meeting with the city of Mississauga yesterday, and we're working on some great things for the music scene, hip hop and R&B. So I'm glad that, you know, they see my vision and we could partner up and make some things happen. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's still very fresh.
We can drop some.
We got some things in the works.
Drop some exclusives. No exclusives?
I mean, I just gave you one. You know what I mean? Like, no one even knows about this. So we got some things in the works for the hip hop and R&B community for sure.
So I noticed you're wearing a Kiss shirt.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's not exactly hip hop, right?
Nah.
So, maybe you could talk a little bit about, obviously we play music on the station, and music is like a time capsule, right? It just represents different emotions and feelings at certain points in times in our lives. If you had to look and consider a playlist for your life so far, who would some of those artists be on that playlist for you? I'm guessing that Kiss is probably one of them.
I'm actually not going to even lie to you. I don't really know any Kiss records. I just like the look of the shirt, the metallic look, the rock star look. I'm going to be honest, straight up. Maybe I got to do some research.
Okay.
But in terms of artists on my playlist, I would say, Chris Brown has been someone who's definitely inspired me on a lot of different levels, especially with how, he's made some crazy mistakes. We all know that, but he's also changed and was able to overcome those things and become a better person. And I think that's powerful. It speaks volumes, and it shows that, not to say anything that he did was okay, but just in life in general, like, you can make serious mistakes and there's still a positive way out of that, and I think that's important, and people like Big Sean, he's someone who speaks a lot about manifestation and just, feeding your brain with positivity. Energy is important, and I connect with that personally. So I feel like a lot of the things that he talks about within the music, making sacrifices to get to where you want to go, and not focusing so much on like the party life or women and other things. Like, you can have fun, but there has to be a balance, like you said, and just really understanding that. And I connect with stuff like that for sure. And then I'll name one more person. Of course, there's a lot more, but I'll name one more. He goes by the name of Nipsey Hussle. He's a big influence on myself as well. He's took more of the independent route, but he just showed everybody, like all artists, like, ownership is important, and royalties, you want to get that. You don't want to sell all that away. And there's a way to make it for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Whether you take the labor route or the independent route, it's all up to you, but there's a way through.
When you were growing up and, hearing music your parents were playing.
Yeah.
How much of an impact did that have on the type of artist that you became?
Huge. So I told you, my mom, I was born in 96. So my mom had me at 16. So I grew up on a lot of like, R&B. So, the Ushers, the B2Ks, the honestly, so many different artists, but a lot of R&B for sure. And I think that has a big influence on my music, especially when it comes to the melodic side. Because I like melodies, I like catchy hooks. You can tell in the record What a Year, it's very melodic. So I definitely took a lot of those features from the music that I was growing up on.
Oh, how can people find you if they want to check you out? I know you're on YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. What are your breakdowns?
Yeah, so on YouTube, you could type in Fame Holiday and all my music will pop up. Same thing for Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other streaming platforms. When it comes to Instagram, you can find me at Official Fame Holiday. And I also have a website, officialfameholiday.com. So definitely connect, tap in. I'll give you one more quick exclusive one time. I'm about to announce my Canadian tour. It's my first ever Canadian tour. So I would love for you guys to, be at the Toronto show or wherever you guys are located, as long as it's in Canada, let's tap in, let's connect. And I hope to see you front row and we're going to vibe together.
Oh, nice. So when does the tour start?
So we're starting at the end of May and it's going to carry on into June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that things are open back up, and I hope things stay open.
Absolutely.
I hope to God it stays open, because it's just it's been crazy the last couple of years. Not being able to get to do, even for us, being able to do a lot of the things that we normally would do to connect with our audience on a tangible, physical sort of space. For you, as an artist during that period of time, and we only got like 6 minutes left, man, time flies. For you during the time of COVID, did that help you to write more? Did it how did you manage that as an artist within that time frame? Because shows weren't happening as nearly as much. There was everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. No, absolutely. I was blessed with, just before COVID, I had already invested in like a home studio.
Nice.
So I was able to, focus on recording myself and making music still throughout the process. And I think COVID like the pandemic and the lockdown and everything, it really allowed me to sit with my thoughts and really like understand my vision and where I want to take this music stuff and really, you know, understand my journey and what I bring to the table and how I'm different from others. And yeah, like I'm grateful for the time I had, because I feel like, you know, as stressful as it was, you know, we couldn't do a lot of things for like 2 years. That's 2 years that we had a lot of time off to really focus on anything you really want to do outside of like your workplace, or, you know, just how life gets busy, man. Life gets crazy. So I feel like we're never going to get that much time to really focus on yourself again. Like that was 2 years straight. So I'm grateful for it. But now, you know, we're back outside and I'm ready to take over and do everything I can to get this music out there and, you know, have a good time.
You said you've got your tour coming up, and you're working on a top secret thing with Mississauga. You won't tell me more about that. What else is going? You got new music you're going to be dropping soon?
Absolutely.
You know?
Like I said, new music is dropping next month, so the month of April, and then it's going to be a lot of. I'll tell you this: there'll be new music every month leading up until July, August, because I'm coming up with a new summer project as well. So definitely look out for that.
Okay. So dropping new songs every month. You've got your tour coming up. You've got a top secret thing with Mississauga, because you're repping Mississauga and not Toronto, which is good.
Yes.
You know, there is definitely a Toronto sound.
Absolutely.
You know,
don't get me wrong, like the Toronto's talented. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
talented.
yeah. There's definitely
we got talent too.
There's definitely a Toronto sound. You know, the Scarborough Man sound. There's a Rexdale sound. You know, Mississauga. Do they have their own sound, or is it just kind of a mishmash of it all?
I think it's a mixed mash of a lot of things, but I think it's a lot more versatile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you get that pop music, you get that hip hop music, you get the sad, depressing music, you get a little bit of everything, and you know, it's very multicultural here. Not to say that Toronto isn't, but I just feel like a lot of the people that come out of Mississauga, like they're very, very versatile, and yeah, we got to speak to that.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely been a pleasure having you hanging out with me.
Hey, I appreciate the platform, brother. Like, thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. And you know, when you're dropping new stuff, by all means, if you forward that over to us in MP3 format, we'll definitely be able to look at getting that on rotation for you.
I appreciate that.
You know, I'm really proud of what you're doing in terms of the message that you're getting out there. And you're correct in that more artists definitely need to talk to. It's great to be out there partying and all that sort of. There's time for that, but it's also really important for us to really start to have those hard conversations about our mental health and making sure that, you know, we're not using the partying as a tool to escape from, you know, the day-to-day stuff that we have to face. And, you know, as more and more artists like yourself come out and start talking about those things and putting them in the forefront, then I think that, you know, we're all going to be in a much better place, because we're all going to be feeling and understanding that it's okay to take a time out if you need one. It's okay for me to address this stuff that's happening. And so, you know, out of all the tragedy that has happened over the last little while in your life and in so many other people's lives, it's good to see that something's coming out of it that, you know, is going to help to shift and impact other people's lives. So kudos to you, brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's probably about it for us. Want to thank you for hanging out with me. For those of you who are online who've been part of this journey for the last hour, I want to thank you guys for being here. Unique, I want to big you up. Thanks for hanging out. Coming up next, we've got Womanhood with Lady T, and they're always a pretty interesting conversation. Thanks for hanging out. Have a wonderful afternoon.